Hey guys, back at IMS Outdoors in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. We are about to take the Rebel 1100 manual transmission for a spin. Bike has gotten rave reviews for all the technology it offers at its price point, and I can't disagree with any of that. But I'm going to be honest with you guys, and I'm not objective at all. I cannot imagine buying a Honda Rebel over an Indian Scout. I mean, just the looks alone, the Scout takes the prize, for sure. But now we have to see how this bike actually feels. So I am flat-footing the bike without a problem. You know, for me, the bars could come back a little more. I'd probably be a little more comfortable. There's the display. It's got rider modes. We'll start in standard mode. I'm not going to bother with rain mode. Ooh, that sounds nice. I like that sound. Bike feels very light, very manageable, very comfortable seating position. Friction zone is pretty close in, not bad. So my knees are pretty high up, mid controls. Definitely leaning a little far forward with these, I mean, they're not really drag bars, but they're closer to that than typical cruiser handlebars. So we got about 80 horsepower, and I want to say, gosh, I think it was 70 foot-pounds of torque. I'll put the specs up on the screen. Bike sounds really good. I really like that exhaust note. I'll tell you that right now. The seat feels cushy, spongy, comfortable, maybe a little narrow. Kind of the sides of the seat are about 3/4 cheek coverage, not full coverage. This is standard mode. We'll put it in sport mode in a bit. You know, bike feels perfectly fine. Typical cruiser. I don't think that was me. That feels pretty nice, guys. I gotta say. Feels pretty nice. Feel good power, good torque. It definitely has a firm suspension. Just hitting these bumps in the road here, you feel it. The engine braking is immediate and powerful. I like it. Maybe a little jerky compared to what I'm used to on my Indians. Transmission feels okay. You know, the clutch pull is really light. Got a little bit of vibration in the pegs, a little bit in the handlebars, but like totally okay. Nothing that you wouldn't expect on a motorcycle. It's the kind of stuff you would want to feel on a motorcycle. You know, increases gradually as you work your way up in the RPMs. Haven't felt anything uncomfortable or hand numbing. brakes, I mean, get the job done. They don't bite. Did not sense a ton of immediate stopping power. I don't know if these are double discs or what. Has a gear indicator, which is nice. I don't understand why any motorcycle wouldn't have a gear indicator. I really like the sound of this bike with its stock exhaust. Gotta be honest, it sounds nice. As far as wind, obviously, there's nothing in front of me. Feels great. Oh, suspension is super firm. You hit a dip in the road, you feel it. I think in terms of power and performance from this test ride, this is very comparable to a Scout. You know, blows the old Sportster Iron 883 out of the water. That's to be expected. Really impressed, I gotta be honest. I'm very impressed with the motorcycle. I'm curious to see how it is on the highway. I don't think we'll quite get up to highway cruising speeds. You know, bike feels very stable. I'm not feeling any shimmying. Nothing that gives me, you know, a second thought. I've never ridden a 500 or a 300. My understanding is, you know, you get those bikes up in speed on the highway and they leave a lot to be desired. My sense of this is it would be competent. You know, having just ridden the CBR 300R, this feels like a pig. You know, lumbering from side to side, but it's really nice. It's not bad for a cruiser at all. I did not check the lean angle on this bike, but I know it's quite a bit more than a Scout. Throttle might be just a little twitchy, just a little bit. Like as soon as you start to give it, you feel that pull. Not from torque, but like from activation. I don't know if that makes any sense. You know, when I'm out riding on my Challenger, which is also ride-by-wire, when you're riding on the road and you're shifting and giving it throttle, you feel nothing. It's excellent. I think it's at low speeds that you feel a little bit of a delay, and that throttle is a little unsteady. I think part of that is also due to the idle of the bike, which bounces up and down about 500 RPMs. Obviously, I'm not seeing that on this. But when you first pull that throttle, it's like that moment of activation is a little annoying to me. That's nice. That's a real nice pickup. Real sporty feel for a cruiser, I'm telling you that right now. I mean, I would be really happy on this bike out in the countryside for a day. You know, I think there's room under here to put some risers on the bars to bring them up, bring them back a bit, get a nice upright seating position. I mean, you're on a cruiser, you don't need to be like this. There's no reason to have a forward leaning position on a cruiser. The display is nice and bright, you know, perfectly easy to read, not a problem. Oh, we forgot to do sport mode. There we go, sport mode. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I didn't sense a huge difference between sport mode and standard mode. Maybe that's just me. Feels great. Really nice. Very impressed. Well done, Honda. Yeah, see, that's that twitchiness I was talking about, where the throttle kicks in and it's lurchy. I hope you guys are hearing that exhaust. That sounds really nice. Let's open up our vents. It's got a nice deep rumble to it. Yeah, honestly, guys, I don't know what else to tell you about the Honda Rebel 1100. Really nice motorcycle. Would be a lot of fun in the twisties, a lot of fun just cruising. Sounds great, feels great. Not 100% sold on its ride-by-wire throttle, but that's okay. I think a lot of ride-by-wire throttles have issues like this. It's just something you got to deal with. That's the trade-off with ride modes. Ride-by-wire throttle is how you get those different modes. And you know, when I punched it, really no uncomfortable vibration in the handlebars and the grips. Feels good. Grips are a little skinny. They could be a little fatter. My first motorcycle was an Indian Scout, and this is almost as powerful as that. I think, you know, with a level head, appreciating that you're on a powerful machine, and if you gun the throttle, you're going to get a response that equals your throttle movement. I think if you keep that level head, yes, you could start on a Rebel 1100. I have never ridden a 500 or a 300. I would hate to see someone go and buy a 500 when they could just buy an 1100. Learn competently, learn safely, and have a bike you can really enjoy for the long term. I don't think this is an unreasonable motorcycle for that purpose. And you know, some other types of bikes, yeah, you want to start smaller. Like you don't go get a Ninja 600 or 650, whatever it is. You know, go get your 400. It's a different kind of bike, different kind of experience, different learning curve. But on something like this, yeah, I would have no problem recommending it as a first bike to the right kind of person. You know, if you're a hothead, if you're more concerned with keeping up with your friends and showing off than you are learning, yeah, go get a 300. You know, I think it's interesting. You know, I rode the Triumph Trident and I thought the throttle was great. And then I started watching a lot of videos where people with a lot more experience than me just hated on the throttle. And here I am riding the Rebel, and I hate the throttle on this bike, to be honest. It's really jerky. And that wasn't just a sport mode thing. You know, it was the same in standard mode. Just not impressed with the smooth delivery of power when you're first starting to roll on. You know, once you're going and you jam on the throttle, it's fine. Bike is super light. I mean, it's lighter than the Scout for sure. I feel like I'm riding a sport bike. Gotta hunker down. A lot of fun, this motorcycle, for sure. Well, guys, this ride continues the string of me riding a motorcycle and enjoying it. To date, I have yet to ride a motorcycle I haven't thoroughly enjoyed being on. I have yet to ride a motorcycle where I would feel offended if someone asked me to ride it every day. And the Honda Rebel joins the list of motorcycles with the DMV SoloRider seal of approval. Now, we're not really going to do like low speed maneuvering. I won't really have comment on how the bike feels in a parking lot. That's fine. That's the hardest thing you do on a motorcycle, in my opinion, and they all have their pluses and minuses. You just, you know, when you buy a bike, you just got to practice. I haven't had this bike in 5th gear. Let's do a test. 5th gear, 6th gear. I mean, even at 50 miles an hour, 5th and 6th gear, they're fine. You know, not a lot of power there when you lay on the gas, but that's what you would expect. Third gear in this bike feels sensational. Rolling through the twisties, you'd be in third gear that whole time, just jamming on it. Well, guys, I gotta say, I'm pleasantly surprised by the Rebel. Feels really good. And yeah, the suspension's a little stiff, but it's nothing I'm unaccustomed to. I mean, the Scouts is just as stiff. Kind of miserable, to be honest. You know, unless you're moving into something like a Challenger or a Road Glide, one of the big ADV bikes, my expectation is the suspension is always going to leave a little something to be desired. It's just riding a motorcycle. Yeah, I mean, my only criticism of this motorcycle is the throttle. It's just a little herky-jerky. You know, if you're riding this bike every day, you'll get used to it. I know in my review of the Challenger, I was probably overly complimentary of the throttle. You know, when you're under power and going, the throttle's fantastic. It's a great experience. But in low speeds, it's really not great. Well, that is the second time I went to shift into second and I ended up in neutral. Usually I can never find neutral on a motorcycle. And yeah, I didn't really, you know, there was no time to do any sort of emergency braking. But, you know, the few times I tapped on the brakes, they felt fine. No issues. Well, guys, that is my test ride of the Honda Rebel 1100 manual transmission. I'm impressed. I really like this bike. Really nice. Well done, Honda. I really enjoyed that ride.